Hey explorers, Brian here, and if I ask the average person to name a country in Asia, there's a good chance that they'll say China. Well, China may dominate the map, but there are some bordering nations that should not be missed. Our lesson objectives are to describe the characteristics of Mongolia, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau, to explain why the US and other countries refuse to recognize Taiwan as a sovereign nation, and infer why Macau suffered a great economic blow during the COVID-19 pandemic. And just a friendly reminder that this is your last chance to print out your PDF before you hop in the saddle. Let's giddy up, explorers! All the places we're visiting today surround China, Mongolia to the north, and Taiwan, Macau, and Hong Kong to the southeast. Sandwiched between powerful Russia and China, Mongolia is a vast, dry country about the same size as Alaska. This landlocked nation features the Gobi Desert to the south, a sprawling steppe in the center and north, and the Altai Mountains in the northwest. It has a continental climate with long, cold winters. Taiwan is a volcanic, mountainous island located 100 miles across the Taiwan Strait from mainland China. It's about the same size as Maine. Hong Kong is on the south coast of China, mostly occupying the hilly Kowloon Peninsula, and it's smaller than Rhode Island. Macau is 40 miles across the Pearl River estuary from Hong Kong, and it's just about 1/10 its size. It's flatter, but it's still punctuated by hills and shares Hong Kong's subtropical climate. Now let's take a guess. Which of these regions has the highest population? Has to be Mongolia, which is 43 times bigger than any of the other three, right? Nope, not Mongolia. In fact, it's only third. This massive country has just under 3.4 million people living here, 1.5 million in its capital, Ulaanbaatar. A little over half the country is Buddhist, and most are ethnic Mongols, descendants of tribes who have lived here for centuries. On the other hand, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau are small but packed. Macau, at 55,000 people per square mile, has double the population density of New York City. The most common ethnic group here is Han Chinese, and a variety of Chinese languages are spoken, Taiwanese and Mandarin in Taiwan, and Cantonese in Hong Kong and Macau. Bolstered by strong healthcare systems, lifespans in Hong Kong and Macau are about 85 years. Chinese folk religion, which includes elements of Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism, is widely practiced, although many people don't consider it as much a religion as it is a way of life or philosophy. Mongolia was a province of China until 1921, when it was assisted by the Soviet Union to become independent. Soviet-backed advancements were made in agricultural production and industry. However, when the Soviet Union collapsed, Mongolia's economy did as well. People flocked to the capital looking for work. Despite continued struggles with a low GDP per capita, Mongolia has growth potential due to its rich mineral resources. Some Mongolians have resisted the move to the big city, still living in traditional yurts as nomadic herders. Taiwan was ruled by China's Qing dynasty until 1895, when Japan took control. After World War II, China's new government, the Republic of China, claimed it. The Chinese Communist Party fought the ROC for control of mainland China, and the ROC retreated to occupy Taiwan in 1949. Leader Chiang Kai-shek initiated martial law and a time known as the White Terror, when suspected communists were persecuted and even killed. Despite being under military dictatorship, rapid economic growth was achieved during the Taiwan Miracle, which spanned the second half of the 20th century. Martial law was lifted in 1987, and Taiwan has progressed to be a free, modern democracy. Today, Taiwan is a high-income economy known for producing electronic components. Beijing, China's capital, still claims that Taiwan, a state with its own government, currency, and passport, is under its sovereignty in a policy called One China. And what's more, many other countries also refuse to recognize Taiwan, including its close ally, the US. So that leads us to a critical thinking question. Taiwan has a strong economy and is regarded as a free, modern democracy, valuing liberty and civil rights. China, on the other hand, is viewed as a nation that stifles political and civil freedoms and propagates human rights abuses. So why do you think that so many countries, including the US, side with Beijing's One China policy? Pause the video to respond here in your PDF. The quiet fishing village of Hong Kong was established as a British colony in the mid-19th century. In 1997, Great Britain's lease of Hong Kong ended, and it was handed to China under the agreement that for the next 50 years it would be a Special Administrative Region, or SAR. A Special Administrative Region is an area that technically is ruled by another country, but is allowed to have its own political and economic system. In recent years, pro-democracy factions have clashed with Beijing, which does not allow them to have completely free elections. Nonetheless, Hong Kong's economy is thriving as a manufacturing powerhouse with one of the world's largest shipping ports. So let's think for a minute. In 2047, Hong Kong's status as an SAR will expire. Its future is undecided. What challenges do you expect as officials try to work out the future of Hong Kong after 2047? Let's pause while you record your response in your PDF. Macau, a former Portuguese colony, is another example of a Chinese SAR. Unlike Hong Kong, Macau maintains a peaceful relationship with the mother country. Known as the Las Vegas of the East, it has become a major destination for its casinos. Over 70% of Macau's economy comes from tourism. It was dealt a major blow by the COVID-19 pandemic, when Macau's GDP per capita fell from about $85,000, one of the world's highest, to about $40,000, an absolutely staggering drop. Which leads us to a critical thinking question. Why do you think that Macau was particularly vulnerable to COVID-19 lockdowns? Please pause here and you can respond in your PDF. Going to Mongolia and venturing out of its modern capital is like taking a step back in time to a simpler life. It has a number of traditions that have been honored on UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage list, including epic poetry, falconry, and throat singing. As its 13th century warrior ruler Genghis Khan used the horse to create what would become the largest contiguous empire in world history, so horses have become inseparable from Mongol culture, as a means of conquest and escape in the past, and travel and hunting today. And if you go to Mongolia, get ready for a cup of fermented horse milk called arag. Taiwan is heavily influenced by Confucian Chinese culture, but also by indigenous groups. Every 2 years, indigenous art is celebrated in the Pulima Art Festival. If you visit Hong Kong and Macau, you'd better enjoy the city life. But don't worry, you can't escape from the busy streets and get a bird's eye view from Hong Kong's wealthiest neighborhood and highest point, Victoria Peak. So, that brings us to the end of our trip to Mongolia, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau. In this lesson, you learned about special administrative regions, horse milk, and throat singing. But we're not done with Asia yet, folks. Our next stop is the home of samurai, sushi, and Mount Fuji. Get ready for Japan. Until then, keep exploring.
Hey, hey.